drive the 13 Mitigator Ford Fusion. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.tv.
Driver of the number 5 Kiker Motorsports Camry. Welcome to Let's Talk Racing TV.
With Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Timothy Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, this is Dylan Smith. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Amber Colvin. I'd like to thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. Got Al Pierce and myself running the whole show tonight. Stand by while we give somebody a quick call here.
That's the B team.
No, we're the A team.
Nah. Shaq knows more than you do.
That's what I got you around for.
I know more than both of you.
Well, see, that case you're the A team.
There
How's
you go.
that?
We're not going to talk about Tony Stewart tonight.
We're not.
No.
Team Dave speaking.
Hey, Dave.
Dave Al Pierce, how are you?
Pretty good.
The reason we wanted to have you on our program tonight is that a young driver from Martinsville last weekend credited you, not by name, but credited you and your iRacing organization with helping him learn how to get around Langley Speedway before he ever saw the place. He'd never been here, but he had raced it a number of times with your simulator. So I thought maybe we'd have you come on tonight and explain to our millions and millions and millions of listeners and viewers exactly how you can go to a racetrack with cameras and lasers and whatever you do and make it so realistic that a young driver can do it on a computer and then get out on the racetrack and claim it's exactly like they said it was going to be. How do you do that?
Well, the way we started off is we use laser. Are we on the radio right now? Or?
Yeah, you're on now, yeah.
You're live.
Okay. We're on. What we do is we use laser scanning equipment. And what this laser scanning equipment does is allows us to get a three-dimensional point cloud, or basically it replicates the speedway. It clones it three-dimensionally with millions of little dots. And so when we get done, what we have is a three-dimensional point cloud, which basically looks like a color negative used to look like when we had film. And with that, with proprietary software, we're able to lay down what's called a bump map, and that comes up from the bottom of the scan and duplicates all the cracks, bumps, any imperfections there is in the racing surface, and also captures everything around the speedway. It goes for roughly 400 feet out from the scanner, so everything within a sight line of 400 feet is replicated. And then with proprietary software, they're able to turn that into a racing surface, which is a clone or duplicates the actual racing surface.
So when you say you go 400 feet, so the driver looks at things such as obviously the outside retaining wall, but he then sees the parking lot maybe, or the pit area, or the tree line, to get sort of a perspective of exactly what the place looks like in great detail.
You can see the facility across the street, if you could normally see that from the race car. You could see the street sign on the speedway from the racetrack. You would see that. You would see what color the markings are on the wall. You would see what color the in-out fence is painted, what color the lines are on the racetrack. Because after we're done duplicating the track digitally, we also photograph everything that can be seen from the grandstands or from the speedway, and that's duplicated in the colors that it is. And there's a fire hydrant there. We rebuild that fire hydrant just like it is there.
Okay. Now, I know you were in Hampton, out at Langley, a year and a half ago, maybe, because I know we had lunch together, and I'm wondering how, when you get to a site, when you get to a racetrack, how long does it take you to get exactly what you need? Then you take it back to Massachusetts and turn it into a simulation. How long does it take you to do all this?
It depends how many objects are around the racetrack. To scan the racetrack itself, to collect the data, we move 300 feet an hour. So depending on the size of the racetrack, a half-mile racetrack probably takes 9 or 10 hours, maybe 12, depending on how many blind areas there are, where you have to move the scanner to get something that wasn't in the line of sight the first time, such as curbing, because it's important to have all the curbing where it is. So a typical half-mile racetrack may take 8 to 12 hours of scanning time, and then however long it takes to photograph everything that's at the facility. So in the case of Langley, there's a trailer park behind the speedway, so that had to all be photographed from the grandstand, so that when you looked at the overview, you saw that. There's a facility across the street, so that had to all be photographed from the road, as you would see from the speedway, you'd see driving it. So you may spend another half a day to a day just collecting additional pictures to bring to realism.
Now, let me ask you this, Dave. I've known you a long time, and I've followed what you do with great interest. But tell me this. What the young man told us last Wednesday night, that he felt absolutely comfortable with Langley once he got on it, even though he had never seen it. Do you hear that often? Does that come from people who go to a road course for the first time and they say, man, I knew exactly what to expect because you made it so realistic? That's what you guys are aiming for, isn't it?
Well, I can't mention the driver's name because he prefers that we don't.
Okay.
We scanned twin ring Motegi in Japan, and prior to the last road race there, we had some IndyCar drivers who came into our driver lab in Boston and spent 2 days driving the simulator software to get used to Motegi because they hadn't been there before. So, your top-level professional races use it an awful lot in the road course area. They don't use it as much in ovals because it doesn't take them long to develop a rhythm on an oval. Right. But we find out that a lot of professional drivers will use it for the road course experience, and with great success also.
Now, you've shot, I guess the term you use is shooting, but you've shot all the NASCAR tracks that host Cup, Nationwide, and truck races. Well, not right. Not all the truck tracks, because you didn't do Eldora. But
right, and I don't think we will do Eldora because
I understand. Yeah, okay. But the point I'm making is, now you have also gone worldwide. You just mentioned Motegi. You've been to Australia, England. You've been everywhere, haven't you? Doing this?
We've done 7 countries so far, and in the next couple of years we'll do 3 or 4 more countries.
Okay, and
the tracks we do out of the country are Formula One tracks most of the time.
Right, I understand. And now drivers, when you say a driver can access what you've done, obviously he's got to go somewhere and do it. Do you find that drivers who use your service, do they sit down at a console with a steering wheel and pedals like a real car, or do they simply watch a video on their laptop and kind of get a feel for it there?
No, they sit down because today's steering wheels and brakes have force feedback, so they can feel within the wheel when they're getting into curbing or when they're hitting a bump in the track, when they're getting off the line. They can feel those imperfections in the wheel of the simulation. So most of them use what's called a force feedback wheel, which is what most of the consumers use also. I mean, you can buy a force feedback wheel at any one of the big box stores, and so they use that. Watching it doesn't give them the feel of where the curbing is or where the bumps are, the things that they want to avoid.
Yeah. So now, and you also have, I mean, if you take away the big time professional drivers, you also have a racing series. Doesn't iRace sponsor a series in which people compete against each other at the end of the year? There's a championship, and it's like a real deal.
Yeah, we have it from all levels, from the rookie who signs up tonight all the way to the top 50 in the Sprint Cup race for a $10,000. They run the Sprint Cup series. They run for $10,000 prize at the end of the year, which is awarded at the same time the championship is in Homestead. The winner of that series gets his trophy. He gets a NASCAR ring because it's NASCAR sanctioned, and he gets a check for $10,000 in Homestead.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Let me ask you one last question or two, because we got to let you go after a minute or two. What has been the most difficult speedway you have shot?
Well, I would say overall the most difficult was Long Beach, California, and it's a facility that we've never completely built because of the cost of doing all the structures in the bay and all the skyscrapers and everything. It's something that's so expensive to build that it would never generate any income because it costs so much to make. However, we just did release what's called the spline, so a IndyCar driver can go online and race the racing surface. He just doesn't have all the real scenery that's built into the rest of our simulations.
Oh, okay. Now, what track, if you don't mind telling us, if it's proprietary, fine, but where do you think you're going to go next? What is your next target to shoot, and where do you want to go and do a simulation next?
Well, I know we'd like to do the Formula One track in Texas because we don't have that, and that's on home ground. We've still got quite a few tracks to build, though, before that would get built. We have all the tracks built except California. We did stay in California last fall. It is the next oval track to go into production, and it will complete our NASCAR tracks. But at this point, we just released Kansas, and our next release, and hopefully it'll be in the next 3 months, we'll work on California.
Now, when you say you release a track, that means you make it available for a fee, I'm sure, to anybody, everybody?
Yeah, as you said before, we have regular seasons. Our seasons are 13 weeks long. So at the end of every season, we release some new content. We will update content such as the tire model, the way cars react. We're not happy with the way they're reacting. We won't change anything in the middle of a racing season. But the next season, we may change the grip level of a tire because it's not as active as it's supposed to be. We may change the way air affects a car because we don't have it 100% right. So at the end of every 13-week season, we will do updates, we'll do improvements, we'll do add-ons, and we usually add a track or a car at the end of every season also.
Okay. Last question, Dave. Have you ever had a driver, you don't need to name his name if you don't want to, but have you ever had a big-time driver say to you, you know, I was online the other night and I was racing somebody and we were racing at, I don't know, Charlotte or wherever, and that's not exactly the way Charlotte really feels. Do you write that off as being that driver's particular fondness for a racetrack, or do you sometimes go back and look at what y'all have done and say, you know, maybe we didn't get it exactly right, and you listen to people who may claim that their idea is better than yours?
we listen to them all. If we only have, we have 40,000 people race, and I don't know what the breakdown of professionals versus gamers is. But if we have more than a couple of people that say something is wrong, we will investigate it, because if it is, I mean, our claim is accuracy, and if we're not accurate, we want to make it more accurate. So yes, and that's why things are constantly updated and changed. We just released the Lotus 49, which was the 1965 Lotus that Jim Clark drove, and we released it and we pulled it back because we spoke to enough people that had driven those vintage cars that said it doesn't react to anything like this, and we pulled the car back and we didn't release it just recently until we got it right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, where's the next Cup race you're going to go to?
The next Cup race?
Yeah, just to watch. Well, you go to the Glen, won't you?
I'll be at the Glen, yeah.
Okay.
I don't go to very many places just to watch.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. Because when
Media center, just like you.
Yes. Yeah, when I saw you Sunday, you were working hard at Pocono. So, anyway, listen, Dave, thanks for letting us talk to you. Like I say, I got the idea the other day when that young man from Martinsville basically said that you helped him. I think he finished ninth, first time here, ran a 200-lap race at Langley and never seen the place, and finished ninth. And he said, oh, the iRacing simulator taught me all I needed to know. And he said, when I got out there, it felt like I'd been there forever. So it's good to know how you guys do things, and I'm sure that people listening in and talking to you, yeah, Trey Gerald was his name. I know that people listening in and hearing you or who do your stuff are thinking, you know, that guy's exactly right. He made Langley, or he made Martinsville, or he made South Boston exactly like it is, and that's saying quite a bit. Listen, have a safe trip to the Glen. Give them my best regards, and I will see you guys maybe at Bristol in a couple of weeks, wherever.
All right.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We also now have Alison Macleod on the line. How you doing tonight, Alison?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. You want to do a quick little bio about yourself?
Okay. I'm now 24 years old. I started race 7 in go-karts. When I was 14, I was signed by Ford Racing, and I started racing USAC midgets, and I did a couple NASCAR late model races. I was released by Ford when the economy decided to tank, and we've been looking for some help ever since. But in the meantime, to keep around the racing world, I've been doing NASCAR photos, so that's kind of what I've been doing now.
Now, I know that's a big change for you, going from racing to watching and taking pictures of other racers. I'm sure that's not one of your favorite things to do, but you get a lot of contact with people, and you never know who you're going to get in with.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, actually. You know, we get to hang out with the drivers, we get to do their appearances and stuff like that. And it keeps you in the loop, and it keeps you in front of the sponsors and in front of the people that you need to be in front of. But you know, it's actually been pretty cool to kind of understand the media side of the sport, and not just staying on the driver's side, because I think a lot of problems that up and coming drivers have is they don't know how to market themselves and don't know how to get the media that they need. And to be able to be in the media center every week and see, you know, what stories are going through people's minds, and the process of writing these stories and you know, getting the marketing out there and getting the PR out there, it's been really cool to watch and just see how everything forms from the inside out instead of always just being, you know, the driver. So it's been really cool.
Good deal. Now we have Al Pierce. He writes for Motor Week.
Auto Week.
Oh God! Here, you can hit me later.
That's right. I will hit you later.
Anyway, so you never know. You might have even seen him in there in the media center and never even knew it.
I'm there all the time.
Actually, yeah, we shoot for Auto Week, so there's a good chance of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was at Pocono, and I had to get Walt to shoot a picture or two for me.
I was the girl that ended up shooting the pictures for you, actually.
Oh, were you? Okay, well, I talked to you in pit road then.
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, I didn't know. Walt said, this young lady will take your photos. I said, okay. David Wilson, the guy over there from Toyota with the funny little beard, is the guy we need. So, oh, good, okay.
See, I brought you somebody you didn't know you knew.
I didn't know I knew her, but she did a great job. She did a terrific job. Allison, let me ask you this question here, and this might, I don't mean to be insensitive, but that's the way I sometimes are. Did Ford ever give you a reason why they moved on to obviously other people? Did you get a fair shot from them, or do you think maybe if you could go back and do things differently, you would?
A little bit of both. They were really great with me. I was the longest running driver that they had. I was there from the beginning of the program. But what happened was kind of the head behind the program was Dan Davis. And,
oh yeah, I know Dan very well.
And once he was removed from the situation, the next people that were brought in were not as enthusiastic about the program that was set in place. There were the contracts, so they kind of went along with it. What we ended up losing was a lot of the marketing that they were supposed to be doing to help. We originally were sponsored by Clorox, and we had a deal that was supposed to go together with the Wood Brothers, but as they switched to the head of Ford Racing, they kind of lost ties with that, and it kind of just became a program that they were doing. And then they had to do some serious budget cuts, and pretty much all of their actual Ford Racing development got cut, and it got transferred to, minor help to the teams instead.
Oh, okay.
Teams were able to keep some of their development programs, but Ford Racing actually, as far as I know, they don't even have anyone else right now in terms of their actual only Ford Racing development, and that's kind of where I was. But some of the things that I would change throughout the program is I think we left a little bit too much up to them on the marketing side. We had no idea. Like I said, I was 14 years old. I was racing go-karts at the time. We were just completely in awe at the fact that Ford Racing wanted to sponsor me. We had not actively gone out and searched for sponsorship to move up. I didn't even know that was a possibility at the time. And so what I wish we would have done is when they said, okay, here's a program, they were going to market as well, but I should have been, pushing it a little bit further on my own and making contacts a little bit better wherever I went, but we kind of left that media and that aspect up to them. And I think that when I was released from the program, I was kind of starting all over again because everything that I had done was through the Ford Racing program.
So we can blame it on Jamie Allison.
Yeah, I say that because there was actually, it really wasn't him. I mean, no, I won't say that because he was the final, he was the person who was there when it was finally over with. But things shifted from NASCAR to more of the drag racing side, and forgive me, I can't remember the name of the guy that was in there right before Jamie.
But now they're getting out of drag racing, so there you go.
Yeah, they kind of had a shift. Like each one of the heads of Ford Racing had their own interests, and that they brought to the field, and that's they shifted the money that was there for. And a lot of people moved on from the time that I had started, and I think it just became, I never got to know them as well as I knew Dan Davis, and the people I was working with there. Pretty much the only person that I know that's really left is Tim Dewar. And I still talk to him on a weekly basis when I'm at the track, so there's all of that.
If you're one of the few people who have been on both sides of the media / competitor fence. Probably as a driver, at some point in time, you thought the media was terribly unfair and uninformed and all of this. And now that you're on the media side to some extent, you probably think the drivers don't give us enough credit for helping promote the sport and helping promote them. Do you think you are better prepared now? If you say you get another opportunity, are you better prepared now than you were, say, 3 or 4 years ago to make more of it than they allowed you to make 4 or 5 years ago?
I definitely think so. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned being on the media side is as drivers, we're trained to be so politically correct and so follow the rules, like this is what you say, that become a bubble and you become boring to talk to, boring to interview. You know, I've seen so many media members go out there and try and do interviews with people, and they have to ask the same questions, because when they get to a question that's actually, you know, a good question or a different question, a lot of them won't answer it, or they'll skip over it, or they'll give you, you know, the runaround answer. And I think what I really learned through being on both sides of it is how to react with that. Like, you need to be interesting. You need to be able to have a story to tell. You can't just sit there and say, hey, I'd like to thank my sponsor, you know, thanks for being here. After a while, they don't want to talk to you anymore if you're going to do that, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned. Is you're definitely right, you know, looking at the sides of things, you know, as a driver. Now, as an up-and-coming driver, you're looking for that media. You know, you love it when people come and take your pictures, and I'm sure, you know, you notice that as well. You're way more inclined to be able to get an interview with a nationwide driver than you are with a cup driver. You know, it's just a lot easier, and you can get a lot more information. But I think that's the biggest thing that drivers don't realize, is that most of the media is there to help them. You know, and if you're not giving us the time of day, they're not going to write about you. They're not going to take your photo. You know, we know who we can take photos of and get good pictures of, and who's going to, you know, pose and be open to working with us, and we know who's, you know, who absolutely don't go near.
Yeah. Last comment for me, and maybe a question after that, but the problem that drivers don't understand, and I've tried to tell them this, and some of them believe it and some don't, we are asking the questions that their fans want to ask if they were able to ask it. For example, last weekend at Pocono, when people asked Tony about the sprint car wreck he had 3 nights earlier, he jumped down our throats and made it sound like it was the dumbest question in the world, whereas in fact, if his fan club could have been there, they would have said to him, how bad was that sprint car wreck the other night? Are you ever worried about getting hurt? Tell us about sprint car wrecks. And he would never have answered to his fan club membership the way he answered to us. In effect, he was telling us, just, y'all are all idiots for asking that question. Don't even bother me with sprint car questions. Well, as it turns out, it was a pretty good question, certainly based on Monday night. So,
Yeah, definitely it is. I think the one thing with him in that question, and, you know, there's always touchy subjects for everybody, and I think after the Jason Leffler situation, I think he's defending himself and his ability. You know, I'm sure that his sponsor comes to him and says, hey, this has not been a good year for sprint cars.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. Which is all the more reason to ask a 3-time champion who would like to make the chase and go for 4 whether it's smart to be out there driving those cars. And I understand, and believe me, Alison, I understand him getting peeved at us, but he's got to stop and think, if my fan club was here, or a Chevrolet executive were here, or a Bass Pro Shop executive were here, what kind of attitude would he want me to be displaying? And he wouldn't be that snarky. He would be polite, and he would at least say, well, you know, let's talk about Sprint Cup racing, because that's why we're here, instead of just calling everybody, you know, you people don't watch enough sprint car races to recognize a good wreck when you see one, which is what he said. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you have been on both sides, so that when you go back to the dark side, as you certainly will at some point, you'll have some appreciation of what our job is, because you're doing it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's, like I said at the very beginning, I think that's one of the important things. You know, not saying that it's always going to be right, because you're gonna be angry, you're gonna have times like that, and I think with, especially in Tony's situation with wrecks and stuff like that that's come up, I think it's definitely, you know, not only are you trying to keep it out of your mind, but you're trying to keep it out of your sponsors and your team's mind, because it's something that he loves to do.
Yeah, right. I understand, but I'm just saying he is an example. He's probably the worst example of a driver who has absolutely no regard for the media, or if he does, he hides it pretty well. You know, others, I mean, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, those guys may be dull and vanilla, but they're honest and they are polite and courteous and they're accessible. Junior's about the best we have. I mean, Junior is terrific when he comes in for Q&As. He does a great job. Danica does a great job. She's a terrific media person. But Tony and some of the others who just think we're in the way, that we're interrupting their livelihood, don't realize, you know, if we weren't writing all this stuff about you, you'd still be racing somewhere. But I don't know if you'd be racing at Pocono with that kind of sponsorship money. So, anyway.
I think you completely touched base on it for sure. The biggest thing is that balance that, you know, Danica and Earnhardt Jr., they haven't won in a while, you know, or at all in Sprint Cup, and so they know the importance of being, you know, being out there. I mean, they've both been so over-attacked by media, they're used to it, where you have people like Tony and, you know, a couple other drivers who are doing it because they love racing, but they have absolutely no use for the media that comes
Right,
with it.
exactly.
And, you know, it's definitely tough, and I think drivers need to realize, you know, hey, not all media is bad, because, you know, after you've been in the spotlight for a while, there are those people that take your words and they twist them and they turn them into something that's completely not what was intended, and that, I'm sure, can get frustrating. Luckily, I haven't had that situation yet, but I've seen it happen, and, you know, they need to know, hey, this is a trustworthy, you know, news or information, and I need to, you know, be cool with them, and they're going to help me as much as I help them. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is just that, you know, taking that extra time to turn and look at a photographer, or spend those 2 minutes talking to a reporter, or, you know, doing anything like that really can be the difference between you moving up and staying where you are.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Listen, we appreciate your time. I know, actually, you've been on a little bit. Yeah. Are we done with her, Roger? Do we need some? Okay. Alison, one last question. Where will your next photo assignment be? Where are you going to be next?
The next race that I'm at will be Bristol, I believe.
Oh, good. All right. I'll be there. I will see you somewhere on pit road or in the garage, or, well, they don't have garages, but I'll see you somewhere at Bristol and reintroduce myself, and we'll talk about this a little bit more.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Talk to you later, Allison.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Let's Talk Racing there, Mike. We have Mike Robertson on the line.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Pretty good. Why don't you go ahead and throw out a little quick racing resume so people will know something about you?
Well, I started racing at an early age. My dad actually has raced at Bowman Gray, Daytona, Charlotte, all around the southeast in modifieds up until he was probably about 50 years old, and then he stepped down all the way from a NASCAR modified to a four-cylinder, and actually 2 years ago at age 70 he won a race, and when he won he retired. So I've been around racing all my life, and I've been driving sporadically here lately since I have a 27-year-old son that's taken up the sport years ago, and we've just been watching him progress, and I drive every now and then, haven't been driving a lot, so been very fortunate at Bowman Gray, won many races, and I run several races a year, and I actually, enjoy it, so I've been doing it for a long time.
Cool. Now, you had sent me some information that I caught barely, something about a video out at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, it went viral. It was on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Hannity, Fox, ESPN. It went worldwide, and I had people from Australia calling me, and it was a pretty crazy night that night. For the listeners that don't know Bowman Gray, we race around a football field. That's where Winston-Salem State University plays their home football games. And it's a quarter-mile track. It's the oldest NASCAR sanctioned racetrack in the country. It's been NASCAR banner since 1949. So it's been around a long time. It holds 17,000 people. And
Hang on a second.
I got it.
So that night, it was pretty wild.
Okay.
Al happened to try to bring it up on the on YouTube.
I had the volume up too loud. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it was that night, my brother was leading, and I was running second, and the guy that actually spun me had won the first race, and he came through the pack. He's got a really good car, really good driver. He won the first race. We had twin races that night, and he was trying to do a feat that nobody had done in many years, and that's win 2 races in one night. And unfortunately for me and my brother, he was what we feel was a little over aggressive. And coming to the white flag, we actually took the white flag, and he trying to be going into 1. And I felt that was a little aggressive, so I got out of my car and I was going to reach in there and rip his MSD wires off, but that didn't work. So by the time I got halfway in, he took off, and the rest is history. I was on for the ride.
Mike, I assume that you, at some point in your career, wanted to be a TV star. You wanted to be I guess you wanted to be on national television after a race, but this is probably not the way you wanted it to happen, is it?
No. I mean, a lot of people ask me, do I regret it? And, anytime you do something that's not too smart, you definitely regret it. But, as a race car driver, anybody that's strapped into one knows that, sometimes when the moment hits and aggression and the heat and just all kinds of emotions go through your mind at that moment, you don't really use a lot of good common sense. But, I've had fun with it. I'm not mad at that driver. That's history in racing. You put last week behind you and you move forward to the next week. And, I've created some good positive vibes from it. I've created madhousemike.com. It's a cartoon character flying through the sky. So, all kinds of neat stuff coming from it, and the kids love it. It's a great little tool to, just to turn something that was so horrific into something positive, and that's, having fun with children, letting them know, racing is fun, and it's that video that went worldwide is not who I am. Obviously, the other driver, I'm sure that's not who he is, but everybody has done something in the heat of the moment they regret.
Listen, you're lucky Mike Mulhern wasn't there. He might have asked him to string you up on a cross somewhere.
Yeah, well, he was our local writer here in town.
Oh yeah, I've known Mike for years, and I know Greer Smith very well too. So
Greer
yeah.
Out of High Point, yeah.
Yeah, I know all those guys. For Mike, for those people who may not know as much about Bowman Gray as they should, or not that, but they don't know much about it. It's an absolutely flat track, and passing, I would assume, is difficult without contact, and these kind of things are, I guess, expected to happen. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, not to your extent, but beating and banging and turning people.
There's always, you go to a fight and hope a race breaks out over there, and I mean, it's just a lot of aggression. It's a flat track. It's tight. Passing is you just can't hardly do it without putting the bumper to them. But you can cross the guy up and get up under him. You can shove him in just a little bit, push him out a little bit, and get up under him. There's ways of doing it, and it's like no other track in the country. I mean, Ryan Priest came down from Connecticut and won the Wheeling race this weekend, and I mean, he even said that was the biggest win of his career, just to win at Bowman Gray Stadium. So the place is rich in tradition. I've been fortunate enough, I've seen all of them come through the ranks. Paul Radford, Zach Twirly, Jerry Cook, Richie Evans, Johnny Bryant. I've seen them all race there as a kid, and the place has a lot of good memories.
Now, you said your father won there at some point in his career?
He actually won at age 70, and he's one of the oldest winners at Bowman Gray.
And you've won there, of course.
Oh, I've won many.
Yeah, okay. But the direction I'm going is, has your son won there yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so all three of your everybody who
My 8-year-old son just raced his very first race this past week. weekend at Bowman Gray in a Bandolero, and he actually won his age group and placed 5th overall. There was 13 cars, and he was a beginner. This was his very first race ever, and we chose it to be at Bowman Gray, and he won his age group, 8-year-old, and it was very special, and we were tickled to death. So the whole family's into racing. This is what we do. We don't play golf, we don't fish, we don't hunt. I'm actually sitting outside now out at A Speedway. I've been testing with a buddy of mine. So, this is what we do. We love racing, and it's in our blood.
I would imagine that when all of your family gets together, say for Thanksgiving or whatever, boy, the war stories just fly fast, don't they? Everybody's got a story, and everybody tries to one up the story that just got told. Is that right?
Yeah, one up. So they're gonna have to dig deep to top this one. This video, if you haven't seen it, I mean, I was very fortunate. About one more second, the head would have went into the guardrail.
Yeah.
So, it was a bad night, but as anything, you can choose to take something bad and turn it into something positive, and that's what I've chose to do. I mean, we're going to create the website. It's actually going to be up and running tomorrow. It's madhousemike.com. It's going to have some good kid features. We've created a cartoon character. We're putting it all over our car, and it's just something fun, and we're excited about it, and we're ready to put Madhouse Mike back on the track.
Now, your season ends pretty soon because football season starts, Labor Day weekend or something like that? Or
there's actually at Bowman Gray, there's only 3 more races. It's a very short season at Bowman Gray. It's really hard for the modified drivers to run for a national championship because they just don't have enough races, to throw out any of the bad ones. So it's a short season. In some cases, a lot of people like it. When Bowman Gray closes, we go, either to Caraway, A Speedway. In the years past, my son runs late models, so we go to Martinsville, Myrtle Beach, the big races. So my son Ryan we call him the franchise driver of the family because he has actually went and done a lot of good things. He was second in the Denny Hamlin Showdown. In the final practice, only Denny Hamlin was faster than him. He qualified 4th at the Virginia Lovers for 300, 4th out of 100 teams. Not too shabby for a little local team out of Winston-Salem. It was a funny story, Roger. We were sitting in Tech right after qualifying, and I know you know Philip Morris, but
yeah.
one of his crew members was over staring at my car, and I heard him ask Philip, "Who is that guy?" I heard him say it, and I said, "We're from Bowman Gray."
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
That was fun. That was good stuff right there. It was good stuff. So, we've had some good times, and we've struggled, but all in all, we're probably a top caliber team. I think when we roll in, people know they got to beat us. The late models is just so hard to be competitive and work a full-time job, and I mean, a lot of these teams now are doing it with full-time crew members, and it's a.
Mike, let me ask you one question, non-racing related. I have heard from a number of people that there are 2 places in Winston-Salem that you have to go to get good hot dogs. Pulliam's is one of them. Does that sound familiar?
Mark is a good guy. I love Mark, and the next one better be Kermit.
Okay, I wasn't sure what the other one was. So, of those 2, if you had to go out and have a hot dog, which one would you go to?
I can't answer that because both of the owners are my friends.
Oh, okay.
Get in trouble.
Mark I see all the time. His daughter just married Kim Brown, that runs over there. Is a 9-time champion. And Kermit's, we stop there every Saturday. So they're both icon places in the town of Winston to stop in on a Saturday before the race.
I heard that back in the day, Bill France Jr., if he was at Charlotte or he was at Rockingham or he was somewhere within a short distance, Bill France Jr. would send his airplane to Winston-Salem and have somebody go bring back a dozen or so hot dogs for wherever he was. And I figured if Bill France Jr. thought enough of them to do that, then the next time I'm down there, I've got to find a place to go get one of those too. So,
have you ever heard of the layout of it? You don't sit down.
Yeah, I think Eddie Wood told me you eat outside, don't you?
You eat outside on a stump.
Yeah.
My type of spot to eat.
Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm glad you told me that because they were the two names that I've heard, but when you get old like I am, you kind of forget what the names were. So, all right.
Oh, you'll be surprised that when you go in there and look at all the pictures of the celebrities that have stopped in racing at podiums, from Bill France to Mike Hilton to just all kinds of people stop in at podiums, and he's a good man. So you need to do that.
When I do that, I'll tell him that you sent me, and maybe he'll comp you a hot dog or two.
Yeah, well, he brings some to the track every Saturday night, so we try to sneak in one before the race. So, Mark's a good guy.
Listen, appreciate your time, and listen, we appreciate you taking the kidding well about your video. I mean, some guys would have maybe said, "Yeah, I'll talk to you," but we don't want to talk about that. It tells me a lot about you. I've never met you. It tells me a lot about you that you're willing to take a little bit of kidding about that because. Once it's done, and we all know what happened. So there you go.
One thing my dad taught me, he said, you got to learn to be able to laugh at yourself. And I've done that, and I'm not mad at anybody over dancing. It's done. It's forever in history. It's on YouTube now.
Oh yeah.
I can't erase it, and it's up to about 1 million views. So a lot of people are watching it, and it's history, so you might as well face it. I'm a part of history, whether you like it or not. I'm the guy flying on the side of a race car.
The good thing you let go when you did, because you would indeed have gotten squashed.
Hey, Mike, now here's the other thing. Used to, I would take and ask some of the drivers what their most embarrassing moment was in their racing career, and yours is already out there.
Yeah, and but I don't find it embarrassing. It doesn't bother me. I don't know why. I must be weird. I mean.
Oh no! You got to have something you laugh at yourself. I mean, I used to race late models, and I've got a few that I know that.
Mike, he tried to race late models.
Hey, I had fun. That's all that mattered.
He tried to do it, yeah. But which is more.
Is that what you're saying?
That's more than I've ever done. So there you go.
Well, look, guys, I appreciate y'all taking the time.
Thanks for your time.
Maybe we can do it again soon.
All right, I'll come to Martinsville and see you in October. October they run, though.
Yeah, usually
late
October.
model show.
Yeah.
I'll pop in and say hello.
I probably even ran into him at the Denny Hamlin thing and never knew it.
You've run into everybody.
I wasn't racing.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mike. Take care.
Bye.
All right, see y'all.
Have a hot dog for us. All right, who's next?
Terri. She's supposed to be calling in from the media center out at Knoxville.
Here we go. Where is she? She's only got 9 minutes.
What's that?
Yeah.
Well, that thing's way off.
Why?
7:48. 7:49.
Oh, okay.
Must not have that one set to.
Are we going to talk about Tony or not? Your boy, Tony?
Well, Terry's going to be talking about Tony because he's right there where it happened.
He did not happen in Knoxville.
Knoxville, Iowa?
Yeah, it didn't happen there. It didn't happen there. Happened in Okaloosa, Iowa. It's Southern Iowa Speedway. It was not at Knoxville. I'm telling you, Roger, don't question me. Would you like me to call it my Auto Week story and show you?
Hey, all I know is she sent me pictures from it. So.
Well, she might have been at that track that Monday night. But it was not at Knoxville.
Go ahead and go ahead and run through your thing.
Well, why don't you call her?
Okay, fine. I got to pull up the number.
People say Tony owes it to his sponsors and his fans and his corporation to not do that kind of stuff. That, Joe Nemechek did it, nobody would really care because he's a one-car team. He owns his own deal. He's only got maybe a dozen employees. So Joe could do it. If he got hurt, wouldn't be nearly the big upset it is now, but it is what it is. And up until today, I thought he might still make the chase.
Hey, girl. Oh, sitting here with Al, getting ready to talk about you.
Hey, Al.
How are you?
I'm good.
Would you educate Roger and tell him where Tony got hurt? I mean, what racetrack he was at?
Oskaloosa, Iowa.
Right. It was not at Knoxville.
Right.
I thought it was at Knoxville because you were up in Knoxville. What can I say?
No, Oskaloosa is about 50 miles south of Knoxville. Yeah, there's one. Like 3 miles. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Kind of a little fairground track, a little half-mile fairground track.
Yeah.
You know, they pack them in there. Yeah, I was like 50 feet from him when I got us right down there.
Terry, what is the consensus of opinion out there tonight about should he have been doing it? Should he not have been doing it? Can you make any sense of?
Call from Phil Miller.
Can you make any sense of what he does anytime?
Yeah.
It's just the way things go.
You know, the whole sprint car world, you know, they kind of have a different mentality. You know, that corporate businessman thing that goes on at NASCAR. You all have to live under. But they just, you know, they get around here, they think, well, you know, maybe he shouldn't have been running, but he's a racer. This is what he does. He likes to do it. And, you know, I think they all do see the business end of it. He's going to miss, you know, going to take some out of races, sponsors to hold to, and all those kind of things. But, you know, these people are hardcore, you know, 120 races a year professional race car drivers, and these fans like that kind of stuff, you know. So, you know, I think it's a split decision. I think that probably some of the NASCAR world thinks he should be doing it, and I think the sprint car world says go Tony. I think it just lands that way.
Well, I think the crux of the matter is this, and you've been doing it a lot longer than most people, and you've done it a whole lot more than I've ever watched sprint cars. But let's put it in this context: Tony is responsible for a 300 or 350 person corporation. He's the CEO. He is the head man. Without him, Stewart-Haas Racing is not much. Does he owe it to his employees? Does he owe it to Mobile One and Bass Pro Shops? Does he owe it to Chevrolet? Does he owe it to Ryan Newman and to Danica? Does he owe it to Zippadelli to maybe not put himself at risk because he's not just hurting himself when he does what he did, but he hurts everybody? And I've heard it called today in print that he was selfish. And others say, well, you can't take the racing out of the racer, and if you do, he's not the racer that you want him to be. Where do you come down on that part of the argument?
I fully believe that. I think there is, you know, once you reach a status there that you are a professional businessman at that level, where it kind of lives and breathes on your shoulders, you know, you're not going to be jumping off cliffs, you know, without a parachute. You know, it's one of those things. It's not going to be paragliding off some mountain because you got too many people relying on you. Now, you can always look at it from the standpoint, you know, racing is not as safe as Dodge pocket no matter what you're doing. But if your main focus is you know, the NASCAR teams that you run, and that's where the money comes from, and you know, and even Tony said the fact that he did the NASCAR stuff so he could afford and to do the other stuff. But yeah, I think there's a better decision. Actually, my guys and I have all talked about that too. Because it could be selfish on one end, but it also could just be because that's what he does. And it's a lifestyle, and that's what people do. So I guarantee you there's going to be some people asking questions about this when I leave the decision phase.
Let me ask you this now: would it? And this is, you may have heard me earlier speaking of this. Would this be a non-story if he had flipped and rolled in 2 or 3 times and maybe broken an ankle or dislocated an elbow that would not keep him out of this weekend's race, that would not seriously impact his chase possibilities? Is it the fact that he's going to miss races and most likely now miss the chase? Is that the bigger story, and the thing that you really can't, you just can't deny that he has impacted his organization?
Right, I think you're right on the money. I
think it's one of those situations that missing the chase run this story right up the flagpole. I think if it was in a situation where he wasn't, yeah, I'm on the radio here. I think missing the chase is 90% of where the storyline's coming from, and
We lost her?
Still there?
no, I was here. I was parking at the racetrack, so I was trying to make sure that they didn't go over the head when I ran through the gate. I think it's one of those situations where, Tony's high profile anyway, and I think there's been some extraordinarily difficult things that's happened over the last couple of months with Jason Leffler and Kramer Williamson over the weekend. But, there's been more than that. Sprint car racing is not, it's hard to do, and it's really, really fast. It's really, really violent. It's kind of known for that. Maybe these drivers, once they do get to this point, you can look at that. Jeff Gordon never went back. I think Jeff had a different perspective about the sport than what Tony does. But, Roger, I talked about it. We're trying to get some stuff going on here, and it's like, do I really need to be doing this? You don't want to jeopardize the things that, I have in place and that we're working on. So, I think it's a hard decision, especially when this is kind of what you've done your entire life. It's hard to walk away from it. There's nothing like driving a sprint car. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've driven most everything in a 410 sprint car, a 350 sprint car. That's kind of like living right there on the edge of life. And, as racers, we like doing that kind of stuff.
Up until today, I think I was in the minority because I wrote something for Auto Week yesterday saying that Tony, it was very possible he would still make the chase. My thinking was this: he got hurt on Monday night, was operated on Monday night or Tuesday morning. My thinking was if he missed the Glen, which he definitely was, but if he could give him 11 days to kind of get on his feet, he could hobble to his car at MIS, run a lap, get out, let somebody run the car for him. That would buy him 7 more days. He could conceivably stay top. Well, he could conceivably keep a wild card berth because Newman right now is 19 points behind him. If Newman didn't have a good Glen, or even Truex did not have a good Watkins Glen race, it's conceivable that Tony would not lose so many points that he would lose a wild card spot. Making the top 10, I think, is out of the question. But now that there's a second surgery scheduled, apparently tomorrow or maybe Friday, I think that sort of removes the start and park aspect of it. So I think only today did I agree that he was going to miss the chase. Remember several years ago he got out of his car up at Dover. He had gotten hurt, and he started and ran some laps, and Ricky Rudd replaced him in that situation. So it's not like Tony's never had to get out of a car before. But I agree with people now who call me stupid, because in this case I was, that if you miss 2 races, you're pretty much toast. You're not going to make it. If you miss more than that, you might as well sit out until you get completely well. I mean, why would he even bother to come back at Richmond or Atlanta or somewhere like that if he's so far out of the chase? Is beyond question. So, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think the second surgery is a game changer. I think it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you just have to step back and have a logical, comprehensive, look at what you're trying to achieve here. Because if you get into a point here that you're just trying to, salvage a chase spot, there's reality involved here. You just can't. When you have a second surgery and you got as bad of a leg broken as he has, you got to take care of it. And,
Right.
Sticking him through that window with a leg that damaged is just not going to be a positive thing to do.
But after one surgery and about 12 days to kind of get a brace on it, he could have gotten in his car at MIS and then given away to somebody And, they say you shouldn't get points if you don't drive it. NASCAR made that rule, I'm sure, years ago, thinking if we don't let an injured driver earn points, he will be stubborn enough to stay in the car and maybe do more damage not only to himself but to other people if he's not able to drive. So we'll let him start, we'll let him get out, we'll give him points, and that's the way it's always been.
Absolutely.
Did you actually see the accident?
Yeah, I was standing right there 50 feet from it. I mean, I saw the car spin and then stop right in the track, and the leaders were coming down the back trailer. There's just no way to miss it. You couldn't even see it. There's kind of a blind corner going off in there. And you're running off into the corner at 130 miles an hour there. It's not like you're just running in there at 58 miles an hour. You're kind of humming off into that corner. And there's just no place to go. It took out the top three. They had all crashed there.
Yeah.
Piled into it.
The fact that there was no safer barrier, the fact that it was not a track with a great deal of safety features had nothing to do with it. I mean, he would have.
No. There was just a car that's flying and stopped.
Okay, yeah. Because you hear people say, well, you shouldn't race anywhere that doesn't have safer barriers. Well, Eldora doesn't have them.
Well, Eldora doesn't have them.
So here you go. So.
It was just it's a classic sprint car wreck. Everybody's racing hard. You're all on top of one another, and somebody spins, stops. The last car does. People, crash into them. I've done it. Jeff's done it. Everybody's done it. And,
now, Terry, question for you. Now, a lot of the fans out there that are mostly NASCAR, they're sitting here saying, well, the drivers in NASCAR, they all got radios. The spotters can tell them this stuff and everything else. Now,
no radios in sprint cars is against the rules to have the connection to the pit. Now, there is a radio. You have a transponder with earplugs that goes to the tower that says, when there's like a caution flag or something like that, they let you know that there's no radio contact. And, quite honestly, you're going so freaking fast in such a small area, they're distracted to have them. It's hard to have somebody talk to you.
So it probably wouldn't have helped a whole lot if somebody had said,
go high or.
Yeah.
It was like a second. You had like a second to react.
Yeah.
No place to go. And then different, the guy had just like the guy came to a dead stop, just sideways in the track, and Tony hauled out there. He almost missed him, but he put him that right rear, and then game on from there. So.
Now, you've raced enough and been to enough dirt tracks in this country to answer this question. If NASCAR was serious about expanding its, say, Truck Series dirt track presence, Eldora certainly would be first in line. Is there any, could they run trucks at Charlotte on the dirt?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They could run them at Charlotte. They could run them right here at Knoxville. Those are two places I think they should run them. I think Knoxville would be great, and even my team owner said the fact the other night that it'd be cool to do the trucks on a Saturday night while they did the nationwide cars on Saturday. It'd be a cool project to do because the tracks the NASCAR track's only 10 miles from Knoxville Speedway too. So there's a lot you could do there. Absolutely.
But how many people could they put in there on a slam sellout night?
It's Knoxville. They can probably put close to 50,000 people in there.
Oh, okay.
It's a big track. It's 5
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's huge. Got bandstands on the front and back stretch. It's got fleet. It's amazing. It's as big as Iowa Speedway.
So they could hold far, far, far more than Eldora.
Oh, by far.
Yeah, and I'll bet you, if Tony Stewart owned Knoxville, they'd have raced trucks at Knoxville.
I know.
Okay.
The track is really nice. They even have the Hall of Fame right there.
Yeah, I knew
You can
that.
watch the race from the Hall of Fame, and they have the suites all the way down on that side too.
I'm gonna go get my media pass.
It's totally kick ass out there.
Media pass. What kind of media pass you got?
I gotta go get my media pass over here.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. I got my team owner Scotty here. He's gonna give me a pit pass, and I'm gonna go get my media pass.
Well, you know how the media can be, so don't ask any dumb questions.
Believe me, I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to get my band and I'm going to be okay.
All right, good for you.
Hey, if you get a
I
chance,
wish some of my colleagues would do things like that.
Right.
if you get,
When are you coming back?
It'll be midweek next week.
All right.
And then I'll see you then. And then we got some cool stuff coming up in Arca and nationwide, so we'll talk about that. It'll be cool.
Okay, good.
Good roll, baby.
We'll have dinner next Wednesday night on Roger.
That's right. It's good to talk to y'all. Y'all keep everybody up to speed.
All right, thanks, Terry.
All right. See ya.
talk
Bye.
to you later.
All right, I got to go. It's beyond my dinner time.
I was surprised you didn't
No,
start.
no, I mean, I'm going to go home and have dinner. You're not going.
Ah.
I'm not going to make you buy me dinner tonight. Second
You
week in a
never-
row.
You never make me have to buy you
Second
dinner.
week in a row.
I offer that to you.
I'm building up my reserve.
Your reserve so you can have 3 crab cakes.
No,
instead.
at some point in time, we're going to make you go somewhere really good,
Oh, okay.
like Ruth's Chris or somewhere like that.
Where is that?
Anyway,
Have me when you catch me out in Nevada, go to In-N-Out or something.
oh yeah, you got to go to In-N-Out. Okay, we're out of here.
All right, everybody enjoyed the show. We'll catch everybody later. Let's make sure I'm clicking the right one. Let's roll.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Robert Richardson Jr., driver of the number 23 Dodge Challenger for R3 Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and you're watching Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tony Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Here's your 2011 champion, David Brehm.
Hi, this is David Polens, driver of the 33 NASCAR Late Model, 2011 Old Dominion Speedway Track Champion. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing TV.
I'm Sam Hunt, drive a 42 car on the thing Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, my name is Natalie Sather. I drive the 94 K&N Lady Eagle Safety. We're